Good evening, distinguished guests, respected speakers, and the wonderful audience. We gather today at a time when India is not just rising, it is redefining its place in the world. I would like to put across that the last few decades have seen a remarkable journey from cautious liberalization in 1991 to confident global leadership today. As we stand at this historic inflection point, we are called not only to reflect our achievements, but to dream bigger, act bolder, and lead smarter. When I speak about the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, I want to tell you that the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India was set up by an Act of Parliament way back on 1st July 1949. When the most important document of this democracy, the Constitution, was not adopted. All of you are well aware that the Constitution to this great country was promulgated on 26 January 1950. The pertinent question that arises is, what prompted the Constituent Assembly to set up an Institute of Chartered Accountants of India when its own democratic setup was not in place? The answer is very candid, very simple, very forthcoming. They were looking for a disciplined band of soldiers to steer the country into the path of perpetual progress and growth. And there we are, the financial soldiers of this great country, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to tell you that since inception, we have worked in tandem with the economic policies of the country. And we as chartered accountants have only thought one thing: how to take our motherland to unprecedented heights. If you speak about the way India has grown up, I am reminded of a couplet which I would like to share with you. The couplet says, "Buton tareef hai tum par." बुत समझते हैं ना, मुजस्मा, स्टैचू. बुतों तारीफ है तुम पर, तरक्की इसको कहते हैं. ना तराशे थे तो पत्थर थे, तराशे तो खुदा निकले. Your indulgence, your working, and more importantly, your international relations. I'll give you some data after, say, 5 minutes. Internationally, I remember when I joined the council way back in 2004, whenever I used to go for international destinations, international conferences, meetings, there was a feeling that we are second-rank citizens. And see how times have changed. Today we are at premium. You go to any place in this world, Indians are considered as leaders. If I speak about chartered accountants, we were the first in the entire world, an integral part of International Federation of Accountants, to come out with guidance on remote audit way back on 30th March 2020, when COVID had barely started. I want to very candidly and very happily share with you that we are the first institute in the world to come out with 23 forensic standards. All across, Indian talent is being searched. Last 1 month I was twice in London. I came on the board of XBR International. So when I speak to people, they seek guidance from us. I remember the days when we have to ask something to them. Now they come to us for slightest of guidance. I met the president of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of England and Wales, Mr. Malcolm Backus. He was very keen. He was very happy to receive me and very happy to associate with the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. I met the ambassador there, Mr. Vikram Durahi. He was again very keen to ensure how Indian diaspora can add value to the initiatives or growth of the entire UK. I'm reminded again of his second couplet. You'll have to bear with my couplets. It says, "Dete na the jo jawab, unke salam aane lage. Dete na the jo jawab, unke salam aane lage. Waqt badla, to mere neem ke ped par aam aane lage." India's meteoric growth. I'll give you some statistics. We are the modern India's growth story. Third largest economy, fifth largest economy with GDP of over USD 3.7 trillion, poised to be the third largest economy by 2030. USD 35 trillion economy by 2047. The vision, India 2047, is not a distant vision. It is not a distant dream. It is a roadmap to a developed, equitable and respectable India. We are moving from the margins to the mainstream of the global order. Ladies and gentlemen, India is now the emerging capital of global capacity centers, GCCs. I want to very candidly put across that we are the first nation to have received such great response with respect to outsourcing. Outsourcing not only in accounts or in taxation, it extends now to recruitments, to trainings, to GST returns, to GST opinions, to GST systems. It goes ahead for payroll. See, the entire world has now transformed into India into its back office. When you think of Gurgaon very near to us, it is probably the first small city which has the maximum concentration with respect to outsourcing. Look at the way how we have grown. We have close to 1,700 GCCs, global capacity centers, with over 1.9 million professionals working there. India is no longer just a support center. It is epicenter of innovation, analytics, cybersecurity, and AI-driven transformation. When I come on to AI, let me tell you, 81% of international IT initiatives originate from India. I can give you statistics about my institute. We have a committee called AI in ICI, Artificial Intelligence in ICI. We started a course, a small certificate course way back on 1st July 2024. Today we have 16,000 people who have qualified the course and 35,000 people waiting to do that. India, when it inched ahead, it could see, and I'm speaking to that people, I'm speaking to that crowd who's totally enlightened. Or otherwise on a Friday evening, it is very difficult to find such enlightened audience like you. कहते ना कि मंजिल मिल ही जाएगी, थोड़ा भटक कर ही सही. मंजिल मिल ही जाएगी, थोड़ा भटक कर ही सही. गुमराह तो वो हैं जो घरों से निकले ही नहीं. People who have come here would ultimately become the igniters of the international revolution in which we are going to participate as a very large player. I would like to tell you that with our deep talent pool, cost advantage, and robust digital infrastructure, India has become the brain behind the global enterprise. From current US 64 billion GCC market size, it is expected to cross 100 billion by the end of 2030. The way people are joining, this is a very, very fair an estimate by Chartered Accountant you can understand, is totally worked and is backed with total figures. Strategic trade partnerships. India is a trusted global ally. Our expanding Indian footprint reinforces this role. India's export now exceed USD 770 billion, and we are amongst the fastest growing global economy. Free trade agreements with UK, UAE, and Australia, and regional engagements with IPF and Indo-Pacific platforms. It signals a strategic pivot towards high-value diversified goods. India is not just exporting goods, it is exporting credibility and competence. I want to tell you, you are aware of IFRS, the International Financial Standards, reporting standards, and the carve-outs which we have done, which is the Ind AS, in sync with the local systems and usages. You'll be happy to know we do a lot of work by integrating their Ind AS. We do work, for example, transforming a US account to a UK account. This is a system which has grown us. We are now capably taking care of so many economies, so many accounting systems, accounting standards across the globe, so that we can take any financial statements from one geographical area, translate into those or translate into the most accepted IFRS. Again, a great area. India's strategic demographic edge. Today, India's median age is 32. 10 years less than China. The youthful energy is our biggest asset. It drives consumption. It drives innovation. It attracts global investment. Why people want to come to India? Why people say that India is going to be global power? The reason is very simple, that we have the greatest consumption power. We understand technology. See, if you speak of technology, you speak of artificial intelligence, you speak of blockchain, you speak of internet era, you speak of data analytics, You speak of cyber audits. You speak of information system audits. The entire arena is now occupied by Indians. And the best part, when you go and express, they understand. I want to tell you why we are so advanced in technology. In fact, everything in technology happens with grammatically correct English. And in the subcontinent, only India is the country which understands English, which uses the grammatically correct English and not slangs. I would like to tell you that from a tax contributor base to a workforce powering AI, cloud computing and fintech, this generation is laying the ground for a modern India. I would like to tell you the passion with which we work. I remember a rally in US. The presiding officer got up and said, let us take a vote. It was some 10 years back that we will outsource no work to India. Immediately the chairman of the sessions jumped up. He said, don't make people say lies. He says, what work an American can't do for $200, an Indian does for $20. And what he said about the profession was great. He said a CPA in US works for 16 hours a week. They have 3 days as weekend, 4 hours multiplied by 4 days. And he says an Indian chartered accountant works for 16 hours a day and responsibly gives the work. So the passion with which we move ahead, and I want to tell you, this is the only driver of Indians across the borders. We are considered as a passionate crowd of people. We are considered as people who understand what and how it has to be delivered, that on time. कहते हैं ना कि रूहों में भी दाग आ जाते हैं, conscious. रूहों में भी दाग आ जाते हैं जब दिलों में दिमाग आ जाते हैं. We are driven by heart, not by our mind. So the Indian strategic democratic edge also puts us at the right place. Now, the democracy dividend, innovation through freedom, very important. The India's democratic governance is not just a value, it's a competitive advantage. I want to tell you something about the institute. Our institute is the largest institute of the world, with over 450,000 chartered accountants and 10 lakh students. I was in Chandigarh when the blackout happened. I was earlier in Bathinda. I was speaking in 2 of the universities. Then I came to Chandigarh. We have a huge branch in Chandigarh. Then I thought, why should I not address our members to show to the world, to show to India our preparedness for the war, if it comes. So we had a meeting. I'd like to tell you, a small meeting in our council room which was taken care, and we simply gave one message. Close for 14,50,000 individuals. Immediately 50,000 people were there, and close to 10 lakh people attended that. So look how disciplined things can change the entire thought process of India. I want to tell you that India's democratic governance is not just a value, it's competitive advantage. The way we work, the way we produce, the way we understand things, and the way we offer solutions. I don't want to say something bad about a community, but I'll give an example. I was in Australia, and my next door neighbor, a small girl, was born. I wanted to buy some clothes for her, so I went to a showroom, bought 2 clothes, and then I could figure out one more frock which was better than the other one. So I said, sir, this is the frock, change this. I had to pay the bill. He was in tension. One frock was $15, other was $40. So the third one I bought was $50. तो मैंने उसको बोला कि 55 के बजाय आप 65 रुपए ले ले. He said, first let me enter that one, then let me take that out, and then let me enter the 50. आप समझ सकते हैं, if you speak on the road, people have mess in their minds. We need to be disciplined. We need to be united. We need to be supporting our people. So we need to understand that innovation thrives in freedom. We need to understand that creativity emerges from diversity, and sustainable growth requires inclusion. I want to tell you that this is why India's democracy resonates globally, especially when we engage with fellow democracies in the Quad, G20 and BRICS. Ladies and gentlemen, when you come to sustainability standards, when you come to impact financing, when you come to ESG, you'll note one thing very clearly. We give models, we give calculations for carbon credits, which normally people does not understand. And I want to tell you an order, India and the new multilateral world order. The post-Cold War multilateralism is fading now. A new multipolar world is emerging, defined by regional relationship, collaborative information, innovation, and shared prosperity. Now, India is uniquely poised to lead the entire crowd. How? As a bridge between global north and south, as a champion of climate justice, digital inclusion, and sustainability development, as a nation that can balance power with principle and growth with equity. Our successful G20 presidency proved that India can bring consensus over the entire world. So, ladies and gentlemen, when I move towards conclusion, I'd like to give some more strengths of us. Our capital market is an example for the entire world. I was the chairman of the Committee on Financial Market and Investor Protection for over 6 to 7 years. I was part of SEBI's Committee on Primary Market, a committee on SCODA, Committee on Disclosures and Accounting Standards. Today, our trade guarantee funds are the best in the world. Our system and settlements are best in the world. See, some people feel that Western world is very developed. It is not the case. Our risk, our ability to determine data analytics. See, times have gone. Earlier, it was gold. Then it became oil. Today, it is entirely data. The data has this peculiar nature. If you have the entire data and you do not know how to bring out the analysis, it is of no use. So data analytics has emerged as a big game. And internationally, we are masters of it. So when it comes to capital market, when it comes to technical analysis, fundamental analysis, we become leaders. If you take care of all investment bankers, I'm not trying to blow my own trumpet, but it is a fact. Investment bankers, brokerage houses, even merchant bankers, you'll find number of chartered accountants there because they understand numbers. They understand how to crunch numbers. They understand how to move ahead. They understand how to tell the things to the board or to the audit committee, which can ultimately be used for furtherance of the business or goodwill of the company. Capital market is our first strength. Rising foreign exchange. I don't know if you have noticed or not. When the war was you can say, small war, and when the expectancy of war was at the highest level, foreign investors were rightly buying. They are buying till today, past 21 days, they have been incessantly buying. What does that show? That shows the level which we have. This shows that the faith the world have on us. Ladies and gentlemen, I will not speak much. I have to say goodbye to you. But I want to tell you, be proud to be an Indian. Make your thought process as crystal clear what you intend to achieve. And more importantly, have a strong mind. Somebody once asked Swami Vivekananda, he said, Swamiji, you have gone through Veda and Upanishads n numbers of times. Can you tell me in a line the gist of Veda and Upanishads? Swamiji smiled and said, my boy, in a line, I shall not only tell you the gist of Veda and Upanishads, I will tell you the entire concept on which our motherland India thrives. The words uttered by Swamiji are written in golden words in Indian history. He said, strength is life and weakness is death. इसका कतई मतलब ये नहीं कि कल से हम आयरन पंप करेंगे जिम में जाकर. जहनी ताकत की बात हो रही है. Your thought process that drives you. End to end to the entire thing. It is not a matter of life. I will describe death also. You all know Shahid Bhagat Singh. The International Treaty of Prisoners says that a man can be hanged when the sun is going up. Unfortunately, when Bhagat Singh was hanged, the sun was not going up. The sun was not stagnant, it had set in. He was lying on a couch. The executor came and said, sad news for you, Bhagat Singh. It is time for you to be executed in half an hour. Bhagat Singh got up. When he got up, the executor thought that he will harm him. He ran. You know, Bhagat Singh was a great athlete. दो कुचाले मार के पीछे से उन्होंने एग्जीक्यूटर जल्लाद को पकड़ लिया और कहा, शुक्रिया मेरे भाई. एक मौत के हरकारे के लिए ये नितांत अजनबी शब्द थे. उसने मुड़ के पूछा, आपने मुझे शुक्रिया भाई कहा? भगत सिंह ने कहा, बेशक, क्योंकि मैंने जब से होश संभाला है मेरा एक ही ख्वाब है अपने देश पे कुर्बान होने का, और वो मुबारक घड़ी आ गई. ये कहते कहते कोले का टुकड़ा लिखकर एक इबारत लिखी जेल खाने में, जो आज भी महफूज है। उन्होंने लिखा, कुछ इस कदर मेरी फितरत से वाकिफ है मेरी कलम, कुछ इस कदर मेरी फितरत से वाकिफ है मेरी कलम, इश्क लिखना भी चाहूं तो इनकलाब लिखा जाता है, इश्क लिखना भी चाहूं तो। The last parting note which I want to bring to your kind notice, as Indians, we have to define our mindsets. We have to create the chemistry on us to create value and reach at the top. I can say with my experience of close to 58 years, wherever we put our steps, people run away. It becomes our territory. I don't want to annex nations. I want to annex the economic orders and ensure that India's role in shaping the new economic orders becomes truly fantabulous. I'm thankful to TV18 for having me invited here. I'm thankful to all of you for a very patient hearing. Thank you so much.